Who jumps out of perfectly good airplanes in the name of science? Mr. C.
Well, 7th grade, I've got lots of good news for you today on this Tuesday, and tomorrow is just a half day. So anyway, I'll get to that in just a minute, but I want to tell you, here's my outline for you for the day. So on this Tuesday, I wanted to just say something about semester exams because I've got a 3-part rollout that's going to happen. So 2 weeks from yesterday, I'm going to give you your first packet. It's going to be like 3 parts to your semester exam packet. So you'll get 3 packets. The first packet is going to have your Bible verses on it. Just giving you a heads up. Reasons you can trust the Bible, so you'll get this chart. Remember, history, archaeology, science has. So you're going to get that. You're going to get the flood, ark, and the animals, key things. So the scientific evidence for a great global flood, sedimentary rock, fossils, coal and oil, canyons, rapid continental drift, mountains, mid-ocean ridge. Anyway, all of that. So you're going to get that. We're going to do your superpower, including the different intelligences that you have. Remember, nature smart, body smart, art smart, math smart. Remember those? So those will be on the test. Go Tappy package, gifts, opportunities, talents, abilities, physical appearance, purpose, personality, made in God's image. That's going to be there. So the metric system is going to be there. Metric system. So you're going to get all, this is going to be your first packet. The King Henry, King Kilo 1000, remember all of that. It's going to be their standard unit, a measurement word everybody knows and uses, and what the standard units are. So just the 6 elements from the periodic table that we worked with. The 2 on the sun, hydrogen, helium, the 2 in the Earth's atmosphere, nitrogen and oxygen. I think we did Fe, iron, and then maybe C for carbon found in our tissues. So that'll be on there, the scientific method. So you'll get that. And then the pillars of evolution, you'll get that. So that'll be on there. That'll be your first packet. So 2 weeks from yesterday. So you can start studying like couple of weeks ahead for semester exams. Then there's going to be your second packet that's going to come out. And that second packet is going to be all the tests from quarter 3. And then your third packet that's going to come out a week before the tests is going to be, except for one test, is going to be your quarter 4 tests. So you'll actually get the tests with the answers on them, and you'll study those. So anyway, those 3 different packets are going to come out, and it will guarantee, if you actually study, because I'm going to build the tests from all of that. It's going to be built on everything that I put in your hand. Your semester exam is going to be on that. So anyway, just letting you know about that. So all of that is coming. So you can look for that. So I've already got 1 test done. This was your last test. I've already filled it out. So when I run it off, it's going to have all the answers. So you're just going to study the test with the answers. Hey, that's cool. Yeah. So now it's the kind of thing, if you don't study, you won't do well. But you knew that already. No triple R, no do well. Triple R, Bob's your uncle. So anyway, I should have Bob's your uncle as a bonus, don't you think? The question would be, hey, what is Mr. C's favorite Aussie expression? It's an English expression as well in the UK, in the United Kingdom. Bob's your uncle. So anyway, now I want to show you this. So this is, my computer keeps going down today. It's weird. Usually doesn't happen. So let me bring it back up. Because I had something to show you right off the bat, and there it is. Okay? Now, I have an extra credit, a bonus, night sky observation. So it's going to be worth 15 points. Many of you will do it. You got to get a parent's signature on it. There are 2 constellations I want you to look for, and a very bright star connected with each of them. One of them we're saying hello to. Hello, because I haven't pointed it out to you and I want you to look. This constellation, remember constellation? A star pattern where it looks like something that we find on the Earth. That's a constellation. This one is called Ursa Major, the Big Bear, also known as the Big Dipper. So here it is, Ursa Major, and there are 2 stars connected with it. Do you see Ursa Major? Oh yeah, I can see the Big Dipper. Can you see it? Can you see the Big Dipper? Now, one end of Ursa Major points to one star, and part of the actual dipper, if you think of it as a cup, a drinking cup, a dipper, we used to have a drinking cup like this that we would use on the well on my dad's farm in Indiana. Sweet water. Oh, it was good. So, but anyway, I digress and I don't want to get off track. Okay? So, anyway, do you notice the tail of Ursa Major, the Big Dipper? The tail is like an arc. So here's what I'm teaching you. Follow the arc to Arcturus. That star, Arcturus, is the 4th brightest star that we can see in the night sky. Night sky, so obviously it doesn't involve the sun in this brightness comparison. 4th brightest star in the night sky, Arcturus. There you can see how to spell it. A-R-C-T-U-R-U-S. Do you see that the handle or the arc, the handle is in an arc, it points down to a very bright star, Arcturus. And then do you see the dipper, the outside of the dipper from bottom to top points to Polaris. It points to Polaris. It's kind of hard to find. Now, the thing about Polaris, Mr. C, I've heard of Polaris. Is that the North Star? It is. Pole, for North Pole. The Pole Star. Polaris is the North Star. And the outside of the dipper points to Polaris. Now, I've got to tell you something about Polaris. It isn't a very bright star. It's not? No. People are surprised because they hear about Polaris and it sounds famous, and it is famous, because it's the star that is right over the North Pole. But it's not very bright. It's kind of a dim star, actually. So is it in the top 10? No, not even. No. So, anyway, first you've got to find the Big Dipper. Where is it? Right overhead, about 7:45 to 8 p.m. Almost directly overhead. And the arc points to the east. And the outside of the dipper, the cup, points to the north. Well, it would point to the north. Why wouldn't it? The pole star, North Pole, so to the north. So you might have to do never eat soggy watermelons or sour watermelons. Okay? So anyway, again, the arc of the handle points to the east to Arcturus, about 7:45 p.m. to 8 p.m. I hope you wrote some of that down. You should have. And then there's a second constellation. So we're saying hello to the Big Dipper, or the Big Bear, as it's known. Ursa Major, Big Bear. Ursa, Bear, Major, big, biggest. So anyway, is there a little bear, Mr. C? There is. So there's that one. And then I want to show you this. and this is goodbye. So in the west, in the western sky, it's moving more and more west. I bet it is Orion. It is Orion. You see it? The belt stars of Orion are pointing down to Sirius, the brightest star we can see in the night sky. So we're saying goodbye, adios, arrivederci to Orion and Sirius. They are gradually migrating to the west and soon will be lost to the sunset's glare. We won't see them anymore until next winter, late next winter. So next year when you're a freshman or when you're an 8th grader, you'll be looking for them. So, but they're going to be gone in just a few weeks. So you only have maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks to do this. So straight overhead, the Big Dipper, pointing to, follow the arc to Arcturus, and follow the outside of the cup to Polaris, the pole star. And then you've got Orion pointing, the belt pointing down to the left to Sirius. I've looked the last several nights. It's up there at 8-ish, 7:45-ish, 8 o'clock-ish. So you can see both of these then. I'd look about 8, but if you look start looking a little earlier, that would be fine. So what are the two constellations again, Mr. C? Hello to the Big Dipper, which points to Arcturus and Polaris, and then goodbye to Orion in the west. Belt stars point to Sirius. I'm not going to make a big point of you identifying Betelgeuse and Rigel, although you might remember Betelgeuse on top is reddish, Rigel on the bottom is bluish. Big stars, both. So you've got to point this out to a parent and get a parent's signature. So you're going to point out the Big Dipper or the Big Bear, Ursa Major, and then point out the two stars. Arcturus, follow the arc to Arcturus, and they follow the cup to the north to Polaris, the North Star, and then the belt of Orion pointing to Sirius. Remember, Arcturus is number 4 in brightness, Sirius is number 1. So point those both out to a parent. So perhaps when there's a little break in a little bit, that Mr. Phillip could help you with both of these, or maybe even show you the pictures of them again and just stop the video at those two places. So anyway, there they are. So I wanted you to see those. And next, on the next test, which will be not this Friday, but a week from Friday, I'm going to ask you about proteins. Proteins. Next week. So what are they? So you already know what they are. They're complex chemical compounds that do thousands of jobs in our body. This should be in your journal. Complex chemical compounds that do thousands of jobs in your body. What jobs do they do? They give structure to cells and the body. Structure means how they're built, their shape, their strength. They do the functions of cells in your body, and they regulate what happens in your body with chemicals, protein chemicals. So they provide structure and shape and strength, and then they do the jobs or functions, and they regulate, make sure that everything happens the way it's supposed to. Regulation of what happens in your body. So, anywho, proteins. You've got thousands of them in your body. And what's the point about proteins? This is the point. There's 20 different building blocks. AA, remember? Amino acids. Amino acids. And on your white sheet, I'd like you to write down 2 of the just rights of proteins. Write down 2 of the just rights that prove they had to be designed by God. So you're writing on your white sheet that you got at the beginning of the period 2 of the just rights. Just right number of amino acids. They've got to be in just the right order. Just right number, just right order. They've got to have, so you got the idea, just the right amount, in just the right order, up to 34,000 amino acids in one very big, the biggest protein in your body. Smallest around 150. And then you recall they've got to have just the right shape so they can do just the right job. They've got to be in the right place and do the job at the right time. There's 6 just rights. So on the test I'll ask you for 2 to 4 just rights about those amino acids. Anyway, it's a big deal. Now, I'm going to give you just a little break for Mr. Phillip to answer any questions, and then I'm going to come back to earthquakes and say some things about earthquakes. All right, I'm back, and I wanted to show you this. So I wanted to make sure you've got this. I showed you an earthquake video yesterday. Pretty good video on earthquakes. Woo! Some of those earthquakes were extremely damaging. I know. I think they talked about the biggest one that ever occurred down in Chile in 1960. It was a 9.5 on the earthquake scale. And they also showed, I think, a 9-point earthquake that occurred fairly recently in Japan. I think in, I want to say in 2012 maybe. It was a bad one, really bad. So, and a big tsunami with that one in Japan, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Okay, so anyway, you saw that video. So the questions I wanted you to answer were, so I've got to find them. Have you got them, Mr. C? I think so. Oh, I've got to back up really quick. I wanted you to see foods that actually have proteins in them. Duh, Mr. C, you forgot that, didn't you? I did. So these are foods that have proteins in them. Meats, nuts, eggs, cheese, different kinds of meats, dairy products. So I'll ask you on the test for foods that have protein in them. And here are supposedly some of the top 10 foods. Eggs, tofu, turkey. Oh, I love turkey. Black beans, salmon, almonds, cottage cheese. Not a fan of cottage cheese. I don't know what is it anemone? I don't even know how to pronounce it. Greek yogurt, chia seeds, quinoa. Anyway, all of those foods are rich in protein. Your cells are breaking down and dying constantly and have to be rebuilt. So, and they're made out of proteins. Your muscles are made out of protein. So your muscles are breaking down all the time, being damaged. New ones are being produced, and protein is required for all of that. So anyway, okay, I want to show you this. This is the United States Geological Survey site, and as I talk about earthquakes, and the map's coming up. So we've got to click on that, and I've got to do that, and here comes terrain. There it is, and here are earthquakes. I want to show you earthquakes that have occurred in this location relatively recently. Okay, so first of all, where do earthquakes occur? One of them is the Ring of Fire around the Pacific Ocean. Do you see the red dot up in Alaska? That's an earthquake that has occurred in the last hour. You see that? And the orange ones, little dots, are earthquakes that have occurred in the last day. And there have been earthquakes out in Hawaii underneath Kilauea on the big island of Hawaii, because magma is moving under that active volcano on the big island of Hawaii. Some of you have been out there. So there's one of the locations. Another location for where earthquakes occur is in the, let's see if I can get this moved over a little bit more. Yep. It's called the Mid-Atlantic Ridge in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Do you see it? The Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Now, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is, these are big cracks in the Earth's crust around the Ring of Fire as well. So the Earth has been cracked up into many of these chunks of the Earth called plates, tectonic plates. So the Earth's been cracked up into tectonic plates. And so one of the questions from the video last night was, where do they occur? Around the Ring of Fire on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and then over in the Mediterranean, in that area, right through the Mediterranean, and then around Yemen and Oman, and all the way up to Turkey. Turkey has big earthquakes as well. And then across and through India. So anyway, big cracks in the Earth's crust at those different locations. You're going to watch a video in a little bit by Dr. Walter Brown. He's going to talk about evidence for a worldwide flood, and it was the Great Global Flood, the GGF, that broke the Earth up into its chunks, into the plates. So, and you might as well on your journal make a quick list of evidences for a Great Global Flood that Dr. Brown is going to talk about. So now you need your textbook, and I'm going to tell you about your homework. Then I'm going to let you watch the video, and Mr. Phillip is going to have you work a bit on your homework. So here's your homework. I want to just tell you this first. You see this gal here, I've got to get her name again. Her name is Marie Tharp. Here she is. You don't have to read this page. She was a scientist, and she was mapping the ocean, what it's like under the ocean, in 1952. Wow, how long ago was this? Almost 70 years, right? 1952. So she was mapping the ocean. How did she get that data about what it was like under the ocean? It's not flat under the ocean. There are hills, valleys, mountains under the ocean. Anyway, she got the data from ships that had sonar that could bounce sound waves off the bottom of the ocean and tell. If the sound wave came back sooner, you knew there probably was a mountain there, or a hill anyway, because the sound wave didn't have as far to go and bounce back up. So anyway, she was mapping the ocean floor and what it was like. So what you're going to do for homework, you're going to read 3 pages, that's it, from your textbook. So you're writing these down. You're going to read pages 82 through 84. 82 to 84. And you're going to explain what is going on in the bottom of the ocean as far as the plates moving. There's 2 kinds of plate movement that are talked about. Are you going to tell us what they are? And they'll be on RenWeb too. There's seafloor spreading. We're down at the bottom of the ocean. The ocean floor is spreading apart. So there's a crack in between and it's spreading apart. So plates are moving that way. And then there's another process going on under the ocean where one plate is going under another one. I'm not going to tell you the name of that. So on a sheet of your own paper, I want you to read about seafloor spreading. And that's on page 82. So explain what it is. And then it explains more on page 83 as well. There's diagram. Not much reading. So look at 82 and 83 to get information on seafloor spreading. And then on page 84, what's happening at another place where, and this would be at ocean trenches, the deepest part of the ocean, where one plate is going under another one. There's a name for that, and explain what else is happening. So seafloor spreading, what is that? And one plate going under another one. Pages 82 to 84. That'll be up on RenWeb. Mr. Phillip is going to show you this little video by Dr. Walt Brown, my mentor, one of my mentors, about creation. Has a PhD from MIT, really smart in engineering, and was a scientist. Anyway, if you'll, in your journal, make a list of the different things that the Great Global Flood would have caused. It'll be on your semester exam. It'll be on your test next week. So anyway, I will see you back on Wednesday. Remember, no tests this week. Woohoo! So, Mr. Phillip, if you'll show the Walt Brown video, thank you very much.